Now, away from the politics, it was a war our lives depended on. We needed to fight to save ourselves, our children and the generations unborn. Ghana's water bodies were being dangerously defiled by persons who selfishly mined and polluted the river bodies. In January 2017, government responded to the calls to clamp down on what had become known as galamsey. Government imposed a ban and put together a crack team of soldiers and policemen and armed them with all they needed to clamp down illegal small-scale mining activities. Well, that has been 2 years, and while small-scale miners are asking government to lift the ban, one big question remains. Have we won the fight against galamsey? Today, the man responsible for that sector, Kweku Asomachreme, opened up to the media, giving account of how the 2-year fight has gone. And so far, there's no evidence to prove the fight has been well won. We'll get that report from Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Minister, shortly. But first, take a look at an excerpt from a documentary put together by my colleague Seth Kwame Boateng. And in this documentary, he talks about the impact of galamsey. He talks about the health impact, especially on the people who live close to these areas.
Upon my assumption of office on 7th January, I had the responsibility to say no to galamsey for our own common survival.
Government's plan was to save the environment from total destruction. Environment Minister Professor Kobna Frimpong Boateng says absolutely nothing will stop them from achieving this.
It will take some time, but we are prepared for the long haul. It's not going to be something we are going to do for a few weeks or a few years, but we are prepared.
At a certain stage in the past, we went, the security engaged illegal miners in the mines, in the pits in Obuasi. And after fighting them for a number of days, we got an order from the top to withdraw.
Miners use mercury as a way of extracting gold. And sometimes in the process, they inhale the mercury vapors. So mercury vapors could be toxic to the lungs and the respiratory tract. So most of them, they come with cough. You treat them, for the normal medicine we give for the cough, but they go back and they come with a cough because the cough is not due to infection, either viral or bacterial infection. It is actually due to what? The toxins of the mercury they are inhaling. So this is one of the main causes of what? Chronic cough in the mining areas.
See, I didn't press me. To be con idea to the coffee contana. We go discussing Chrom say other say Binya so Madrubia Akama my care. Gentle animal, I'm so okay. The
medical officer in charge of the Wasek-Kropong Government Hospital, Dr. Ahmed Zakari Zakistan Musa, says at times it is difficult hearing persons like Kojo Mensah. He explains why.
But sometimes see that after the TB and all that tests, we don't actually see the cause of their cough. We give the right treatment, the person still cough.
Emmanuel Enim is another resident here who suffered this. He is lucky to have been cured.
Because for 3 months, me a maybe. It's not ordinary to say my obo and now so yemre. Man, Mr. System waka crab, I mean, no, Jay crab.
When the deaths started, the chief Nana Kwabena Boateng and his people thought a curse has been pronounced on the community.
Into obi wu a yenga to sa asuma se we de ono nsa ha no nti bia na load ni bia mpa yobo so wu a wotum se nipa we de dabi adentina wawu.
Health facilities in these mining areas are under pressure as a result of the health challenges.
It's very challenging. I know a lot of them don't even have the health insurance. So they just come and dump them and they leave. Because a lot of them too are from outside. Some are from the north, some from Ashanti region, Brown Hafo, in Zima area. They have no relatives. They just come and meet as a group and start working. So when something happens and they carry them there, they just dump them and they go.
Issa Musa is a miner from the eastern region of Ghana who is not sure what his health status is because of the many years for which he has used mercury and other chemicals. He has started learning more about it.
I've learned what mercury is. I've been hearing the effects, but I've known from the studies that most of the things that we do, the way we extract the gold, it is
not healthy. So I've been taught how to handle mercury, how to extract.
It is equally distressing that innocent people not connected to mining are also suffering the effect of it. Dr. Janice Lovey, who is with the Renal Center, explains further.
So basically, anybody who lives in that area and is exposed to the toxins, it may even be children who are playing, let's say, in the river that has been contaminated with certain agents, people who are drinking that water, people who are breathing that air. So you may not necessarily be working in the mine, but you have to be close enough.
The point I'm trying to make is that the way we do our mining in this country, especially those engaged in small-scale illegal mining, is very, very hazardous to the health of the people involved.
In Ghana, one major town which comes to mind when mining, both legal and illegal, is mentioned is Takwa in the western part of Ghana. Takwa, which has a total land area of 2,354 square kilometers, is one of the richest municipalities in Ghana in terms of natural resources. Gold is its natural resource. In fact, it is the hub of mining, as it hosts over 25 mining companies. Professor Richard Kwesiamankwa, Dean of the Faculty of Mineral Resources Technology, says these are some of the many myths and misconceptions the miners hold for their ill health or the sudden demise of their colleagues.
It is a reality. For instance, when your kidney starts failing, you grow lean. So if, for instance, somebody has used mercury over a long period, he has become intoxicated with mercury, and perhaps the mercury affects the kidney, and he starts failing and he grows lean, then it means some juju man has come in. Instead of going to the hospital to check perhaps the mercury levels in the blood and then finding the necessary medicine, it becomes a spiritual issue.
You were right in the middle of it. They scatter into the bush and some enter a nearby stream as soon as they see the Operation Vanguard team, and they also chase them with all the strength in them. This is a Hollywood-style operation as gunshots are fired in all directions during the chase. Some of the miners have been arrested. They were operating from these wooden structures situated right in the center of the town.
That documentary was put together by Seth Kwame Boateng, and we will be rolling that documentary out pretty soon. Now, it tells you the work that has been done so far. Let's talk about it. What has the ban achieved and how should it be lifted? In the studio with me today is team lead for the Volunteers Against Environmental Degradation, Richard Addo. Richard, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Momentarily, we'll be joined on the line by President of the Small Scale Miners Association, Michael Kwejo Pepra, as well. But right now, let's hear what the minister has to say about the fight against illegal mining so far.
Even with all these contributions stated above, the mining sector has seen its fair share of challenges. The most prominent of these challenges being illegal mining activities and its associated environmental implications. To address this challenge, a moratorium to temporarily suspend artisanal and small-scale mining operations was put in place in April 2017. The main objectives of the ban were to reduce 1, uncontrolled pollution of water bodies, 2, degradation of forests and farmlands, 3, illegal small-scale mining activities. Operation Vanguard, esteemed guests and members of the media, I must admit that the media had played a very significant role in our quest to reduce the menace of illegal mining. Kudos to you. The collective and coordinated approach in the fight against illegal mining had improved some of our heavily polluted water bodies, had improved some of our heavily polluted water bodies. However, some recalcitrant illegal miners were not cooperating with the ban, and this called for further action that resulted in the launch of Operation Vanguard on 31st of July 2013. Operation Vanguard, I'm sorry. 2017, ladies and gentlemen, Operation Vanguard had made 1,339 arrests, seized and immobilized 614 excavators, seized and immobilized 1,557 water pumping machines, seized 84 vehicles and 84 motorbicycles, seized 5,739 champagne dredging equipment, seized 112 arms and 2,359 ammo rounds.
That's the sector minister there. He spoke for about an hour and 2 hours 30 minutes with the media, but he failed to announce whether or not the ban will be lifted. Here's the minister again.
Indeed, small-scale miners will enjoy Christmas. That is the government's commitment, which was alluded to by Professor Frimpong Boateng. We are not departing from that. Very soon, the government will come out before the year ends. We are in December, and Christmas is always held in December. And definitely, you enjoy Christmas. So, my brothers that are in this particular field should not be thinking that the ban will not be lifted. But the exact date in December, I cannot pronounce.
So that's the minister there saying that small-scale miners will enjoy December. And he's also saying that the ban will be lifted in December. But which date, he doesn't know. In the meantime, we've heard from the chairman of the Parliamentary Communications Committee, Kennedy Japan, say it will happen sometime next week. We'll find out how that goes. But let me engage my guest in the studio here, who's lead for the Volunteers Against Environmental Degradation. His name is Richard Addo. Also, like I indicated, President of the Small Scale Miners Association, Michael Kwadwo, will join us on the phone. Mr. Pripra, do I already have you on the line?
I'm following what is happening.
Very well, Mr. Pripra. Thank you very much for your time this evening, this afternoon here on the Pulse. Let me start with you, Mr. Pripra. You've heard what the minister said. Earlier on this morning, there were expectations that he was going to announce the lifting of the ban at the press conference. He did not do that. Did you listen to him?
Just listen to what he just said on your issue.
Okay, your reaction to that?
I think we can't really blame the minister, because at the genesis of the problem, he wasn't the Minister for Lands and Resources. So he would only just try and then give us a vivid information of what has transpired so far. Okay. But we are not really enthused, or we are not really happy on what is happening, because if government is fighting illegal mining, and even the committee that was inaugurated, its name is Committee Against Illegal Mining, or Interministerial Committees Against Illegal Mining. And for that matter, if a government is fighting illegal mining, will place a blanket ban on activities of small-scale mining, then it means that even the fight against illegal mining has been misplaced.
So I'm trying to get you, Mr. Pripra, because you seem to say we can't blame the minister because, well, he wasn't at the beginning of this problem. He did not announce. I mean, don't you expect some kind of clarity as to when this will all end? Because you've been pushing for a lifting of the ban, because you say people like you who have licenses, you are highly disadvantaged, whereas persons who do not have licenses can go ahead and illegally do their work.
If you let me learn, maybe you would have understood where I was coming from.
Please go ahead.
You know, he made a statement in his comments that small-scale miners are going to enjoy the Christmas. And as a matter of fact, maybe he doesn't really understand the small-scale mining, how it works. Now that we've been in the house for almost 2 years now, going back or mobilizing to site can even take you 3 months. Because as a matter, now you are going to solicit for loans. Now you are going to make sure you check on your machines. Now you are going to your various sites to make sure if everything is intact and all. So if he says that the ban is going to be lifted and small-scale miners are going to enjoy the Christmas, then he really don't really understand what he's talking about. Because as it stands now, we know for a fact that the ban will be lifted next week, but we are not going to enjoy anything.
Okay, so you know for a fact that the ban is going to be lifted next week, you say?
Yeah.
Which day next week?
As for the day, we don't know. But when we went to the vetting, you know, we were thinking about maybe them giving us something to be a final decision, or they are going to tell us the final day that the ban will be lifted. After we went to the vetting, they gave us a sticker, and they told us that we should take the stickers to our various concessions and paste them, so that if in future they come around and you are working, they will know that you've gone through the vetting, you've been cleared, and you can go back and work safely. But they told us that in the shortest possible time, the ban will be lifted. And they gave us a duration that at least by 15th, let's say this coming Friday, a week to this Friday, at least the ban should be lifted. So we are all waiting anxiously to hear. At least by 15th, the ban is lifted.
Okay, but what your point is that even if they lift the ban next week, it will not help you. I mean, your persons who are small scale miners will not benefit whatsoever from the lifting of the ban, at least immediately.
Yeah, that is what I say, because now we are going to look for money. We are going to look for capital. And we were dealing with a lot of banks. They were always trying to help us. They were trying to procure machines for us so that we also go into an agreement of high purchase with them. And a lot of these banks have collapsed now. Now, soliciting for a loan is a problem, and we don't even know. So if the minister says that we are going to enjoy the Christmas, we should be happy, we should be late. We are thinking about a whole lot of things, because we have been in the house for 2 years now.
But then, Mr. Pipra, you've been in the house, but you've also been pushing for government to lift the ban. So it only makes sense that as a businessman, you would be on standby, you will be prepared on standby for any time that the government lifts the ban to start work.
Oh, as for that one, when I was speaking, I said we are okay, we are not so happy. You understand? We are only praying that they won't change their mind, and by 15th the ban is lifted. But when he said that we are going to enjoy the Christmas, that is why I only came out with that analogy that, if he says we will enjoy the Christmas, there's nothing to enjoy, because now that we have to be mobilized to the site, at least it will take us 3 months to at least start production to get something. So he shouldn't even say that. He should only tell us, maybe today, tomorrow, the ban will be lifted, go back and work. But to add that, we are going to enjoy the Christmas, that's something that we only have a problem with. We are only praying, and we hope that at least the government will lift the ban so that we go back and work.
Very well.
As for the Christmas enjoyment, you should put that one aside.
Okay. I have in the studio with me Richard Addo, who is the head of a group a group that's into environmental degradation, making sure that they've been checking what's happening on the ground. Mr. Pipra, I'd like for you to stay with me, because I want us both to have this conversation about what the ban has achieved so far. Now, first of all, if the land is degraded such that you cannot mine, then even if government doesn't put a ban on it, you will still have issues working on it. So it's important that we protect the environment. That's a given. I'd like to find out from you, Mr. Addo, what you think Operation Vanguard, what you think the ban over the 2 years has achieved in terms of fixing the problem that we had with the land and with our water bodies.
Thank you very much once again. Let me quickly say that the President, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, per the NPP manifesto, that they will regularize illegal mining. just as they came to power some few months into power, put a ban on small-scale mining and then a complete ban on all forms of illegal mining. That was Honorable John Peter Amewu who did that. And then for these few months, what the government has been able to achieve, Operation Vanguard, as the minister said earlier, has been able to arrest 1,339 illegal miners.
Okay.
So supposing these illegal miners were working,
still operating. Okay.
Look at the devastation or the degradation they will cause to the environment.
Okay.
So aside of that, you can also talk about this floating boats, what they call the chamfan machines. Those they use on our water bodies. They've been able to destroy some 5,000. And then the volunteers against environmental degradation have been able to destroy 2,000. Put that together, it's almost 7,000 now. Okay. So if those machines were on the river bodies also mining, you just imagine. We have also, with the support of the police, arrested some 806. Today, they are still on the front. As I called them, they told me they've been able to arrest 3, making it 809. And we are still counting. So it means that the ban has brought a lot of good to this country. We can also say that the vetting of these small-scale miners has been able to differentiate between the miners, small-scale miners, and illegal miners. And then also, we can also attribute some of this illegal mining challenge to institutional failure, because
I'd like to narrow it down to what you see. You have your people on the ground.
Yes.
When you look at the water bodies, we saw the pictures.
Yeah.
We saw the pictures of the River Fin and the destruction and how dirty the water has become. So, based on what you're seeing on the ground, in terms of how the land looks like, how the water bodies look like, would you say that we've seen some real difference in the situation from 2 years ago?
Do you know the reason why Ghana has experienced a lot of rain this year?
Tell us.
It's because we've been able to prevent people from destroying our forests. And that has resulted in the rainfall.
So you say it has achieved much?
It has achieved so much. And if you look at River Ofe before and now, at the Meet the Press, I was there, and I showed them the videos. If you go to Konongo, you can drink the water over there now. Okay. River Ofe is okay. Before, they weren't able to use it to even to spray their cocoa. But now, when they go there, they are able to use it to spray their cocoa. Okay. And so cocoa production for this year will increase.
Hopefully.
So if you don't know what is going on down there, you sit and say, oh, after the ban, they should leave the ban. And good, we even petitioned the president to leave the ban for the small-scale miners. They showed enough commitment by submitting themselves for the training.
And the vetting.
Yeah, and the vetting.
Okay.
Some of them voluntarily packed their machines. And then we can also look at what they will gain or what they are going to learn at the University of Mines and Technology, UMAT, better methodology of mining, and then responsible way of mining, and then safety way of mining. Okay. So all these things were done just to regularize illegal mining under the leadership of Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And so the ban has achieved so much.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'd like to throw this off of you, Mr. Prepra. Is this a position you'll agree with?
Ask your panelists, Addo, not to push us to a wall for us to say certain things.
Okay, so this is what he has said. What he's saying now is that he believes that the situation has changed now. The water, if you look at the water bodies,
my sister, we don't really want to comment on the issues because we wanted the ban to be lifted,
right?
So that we will come out with a comprehensive analysis of the ban on the 2 years. Okay. You understand? Although I know him quite well, and I don't really want to go or delve deep on whatever he's saying.
We want you to go deep into it.
Sorry?
We want you to go. Me and my viewers want you to go deep into it, so we can appreciate the issues better.
It will bring a lot of problems But you should only advise Addo to be candid. You should stick to the issue. You know, 2 years now, what has the ban achieved?
What do you see from where you are as a small-scale miner who is concerned about the preserving the environment so that you can continue your work? What do you see?
Sister, let me just give you a gist of it.
Please.
You know, 2 years of the ban. The most important thing why the ban was placed on illegal small-scale mining was to protect our water bodies, to make it clean, and to protect our land so that people wouldn't just degrade and destroy the forest. And now that they are saying the ban is about to be lifted, let's ask ourselves, has that motive been achieved? Is the water body clearer now? Are the galamseyers in the house or they are in the forest, you know, going about their daily activities?
Those are the questions I want you to answer for us. From your own perspective.
My sister, you know, we just don't want to talk so that maybe the government will think that it's not done enough, and for that matter, it will leave the ban. That is why some of us, we don't really want to talk. Because with Addo coming to stand on your TV to spew lies and then to skew into somebody's favor, that's not what we want to look at.
Why do you think he's lying?
He himself, talking about Vanguard, has been arrested before. Why? He was extorting Chinese people, and he was arrested by the regional commander in Ashanti region.
Okay, Mr. Prepra, hold on. Let me find out from him. He's here. I mean, this is an allegation. He's here to just answer. Were you arrested escorting the Chinese under protection by the police?
I don't know what he's even talking about.
You don't know. Were you ever arrested?
I believe this issue came to your notice when an illegal miner connived the policeman that I've stolen his pistol.
Okay.
And so I was arrested.
And what was he doing there?
Mr. Prepra, let him land. Let him land, please.
I was arrested on a false charge.
Okay.
Of stealing a pistol.
You were accused of stealing a pistol.
Yes.
And that's why you were arrested. Not because you were escorting Chinese.
When we went there with 5 policemen from the SWAT. Technically, it's policemen who do search when they enter into rooms. So how come that I was the one who was arrested? You see, it was some calculated attempt to stop the work that we were doing. He's a small-scale miner, and then he must actually speak to the issue. This argument that he's bringing about that I was arrested because I was, am I a policeman?
I think the point that he's making, because we are looking at what we have achieved with the ban.
And I'm telling him I'm telling him the facts on the ground.
Okay.
I'm not just trying to add up something. Whatever I'm telling him are facts on the ground.
Mr. Prepra,
we have seen improvement in the river bodies.
Yeah.
The ban on small-scale mining made some people rich. And that is why we have seen the water bodies still not clearer, and the galamsey activity is still going on.
Okay, so the galamsey activities are still ongoing.
The fight against illegal mining into rather wanted to make money, but not to, go on the assignment that has been given. For the Operation Vanguard, it came out that even 3 of their members were arrested, extorting monies from the illegal miners. And people like the VI or whatever, Addo, who is even standing
volunteers against environmental degradation.
Yeah, was even arrested extorting people in the name of protecting.
So, Mr. Prepra, that point that you raised, he has responded to it.
Okay, so let me go ahead.
Yes.
All right. So now we need to sit down and do an analysis. That are we going to make sure that the fight against galamsey is being sustained and is being enhanced, than to just leave the ban and we'll go back to the old issues.
Okay.
We as a small-scale miners are only pleading that leave the ban, but the only problem is monitoring.
Okay.
Listen, there are issues that we've raised. And sometimes we don't want to be like, we are not really happy with whatever is happening. But we need to be candid, because let me tell you something. We only have one Ghana. If we don't speak the truth, And if we don't speak to the issue, and we always pretend as if that, oh, this is what is happening, we just put a blind side, or we just put a blind eye to it, then it will get to a time our generations coming will even talk ill about us.
So, Mr. Pipra, back to the issue. The point now you're raising is that for you, you do not think that it has achieved much, because as far as you're concerned, the water bodies are still not as clear as perhaps you expect them to be. How should the ban be lifted? You've mentioned monitoring. When you say monitoring, and today the minister mentioned that one as well, going forward, which is actually launching me back into my final part of the discussion, as small-scale miners, licensed small-scale miners, how would you want this the lifting up of the ban to be done by government? When you say monitoring, exactly what are you expecting?
Oh, like Forestry Commission, they have something they call forest guard. They are always in the forest checking illegal logging. You understand? People are engaging in galamsey activities. Why? Because some of them can be small-scale miners, but access to license is a problem. You only come to Accra to do the necessary follow-up to get your license. So people who are in the villages at Ankrigwa and other environs thinking about coming to Accra, you know, the procedure and the process involved, would rather just take an excavator, go anywhere, and just do whatever they want. So what we were pleading with the government is to decentralize the procedure in getting
for the
license. At least you can be in Kumasi and get your license so that the government can monitor your activity. These are the things we are talking about. Another aspect of it is, you know, they should empower small-scale miners. You see these Chinese, they come with excavators. Sometimes these Ghanaians, they don't have excavators. So they intend partner with the Chinese to, you know, come and mine. And at the end of the day, they don't get anything. So
they get to create the problems.
So what we can do, at least government should empower the small-scale miners by at least creating a plant pool. You deal with the bank. Okay, government has procured these excavators. Go to the bank. If you are credit worth, we will give you. As you work, you pay. At the end of the day, that one will eliminate this Chinese. But if we don't put this pragmatic solutions, and we sit down and say, oh, we have brought the military. At the end of the day, we know military for long-term solutions, you can't get it. Why? Because people are engaging in galamsey because they don't have any alternative source livelihood. At the end of the day, their life depends on galamsey. So what do you do to make sure they stop? If you bring the military, and the military can only work in the afternoon and they don't work in the evening, when the military goes to sleep, they will go back and work.
So the Operation Vanguard, from what you're saying, the Operation Vanguard module was not necessarily
that is it. We stated it.
The plan.
As soon as they wanted to bring in the military, we said it, because let me tell you, in 1989, the first operation that was used to fight galamsey was called Operation Cowley. They can check it if they don't know. That was the time, that was then they were fighting Ghanaians over this large-scale miners. They used the military approach, it didn't work. In 2001, when President Kufuor became a president, he also initiated this military tactics to fight or to flash out the galamseyers, and it couldn't work. In 2011, former President John Dramani Mahama used this military approach, and it didn't work. And in 2017, when Operation Vanguard was inaugurated, we said it, that using this trend would also lead into failure, and they didn't listen to us. Why? Because we are on the ground. There are information that we are direct to the problem. And if you are going to bring a solution and you don't contact those people that, you know, are first-hand people who can give you the information, and you think, oh, we have doctors, we have lawyers who can just sit in their offices and just bring out solutions.
Right.
If it is going to work, these are the clear evidence that we are seeing now. The water is getting polluted. Actually,
hang on for me, Mr. Prepara. I have one other issue to bring you up on, but I'd like to have you respond. Yeah, exactly, respond to all of these things.
The issue,
and ask whilst you're at it, let's keep it focused also on how the ban should be lifted. That's the part of the conversation.
I would like to say that government has done enough, and there's been a lot of change since this ban was put in place. And then let me quickly add that, Mr. Prepara, get this out of your mind that I was ever arrested for extorting. I've never done that. Never in my career, I have never done that. It was a false charge by those who use illegal Chinese miners to ensure that we stop the work that we are doing.
Very well. You responded to this already.
That has been the allegation. Based on this, the district police commander for Manson Nkwanta was quickly transferred based on this issue because he knew very well that that allegation was false.
Okay, Ms. Addo, we've dealt with this part of the issue. Now we want to move the conversation forward by looking at how the ban has to be lifted. He's listed a couple of things
and
about
then
monitoring.
He also mentioned
monitoring. He's mentioned monitoring. He's mentioned access to licenses, the bureaucracies that come with it, and he's mentioned how governments could
it's exactly what I was saying, that we have in state institutions like the Mineral Commission, like the Forestry Commission, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, they've increased their staff strength now. And they've provided them with logistics. This government has done that. Before we had nine mining officers. Now they have been increased to 15.
And what exactly do these mining officers do? And what do you expect them to do with the lifting of the ban?
They are in charge of monitoring the area and then ensuring that illegal mining activities don't go on in those areas.
Okay.
So government has increased from 9 to 15. And then they've also trained mining guards. So you can see that systematically the government is trying to ensure that it puts things in place to ensure that we have a responsible...
I like for you, because you're working on the ground with the people against environmental degradation, I'd like to hear from you on what your expectations are. But you seem to be...
You see, the expectations...
Hold on, you seem to be giving me more of what government is doing. For me, I'd like to hear whether it works for you, whether you think that's enough. What government is doing is enough, or whether or not you have expectations as to how we can deal with the problem going forward if we lift the ban.
It will always be two.
Okay.
And the only way out are these are the things that the steps the government has taken to ensure that we regularize small scale or illegal mining. So we have this Mineral Commission mining guards in place.
Okay. For you, that's okay. That works?
It's going to work. And then what I wanted to say is that this challenge, illegal mining challenge, or the problem, wasn't done in a day. And they shouldn't expect that it will be over within a day. It is a process. The more you destroy these machines, the more they come back. So you can't sit there and say that because somebody went there to extort money. No, that is a bad notion. And then he knows that we have small-scale mining task force going around. Does he want to tell me that they are also extorting? That is why we still don't have our river bodies clean? No.
Okay.
These illegal miners, they devise all sort of means to ensure that as you go this way, they also go that way. The moment you relax, they come back. So you shouldn't say we are not doing anything.
So bottom line is monitoring. That's key in all of the submissions. Let's hear the Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy Japan, who is also a member of the Parliament's Communications Committee. He's been speaking about how he thinks that members on the Operation Vanguard team, some members on the Operation Vanguard team are corrupt. We can hear him now.
The government has taken the decision to lift the ban because earlier on, when we started this ban, we told Ghanaians that it's not going to be permanent, but we want to regulate it. And there have been a series of meetings that have gone on, interventions, and now we realize we are ready to, lift the ban. And now anybody who wants to do the small-scale mining has to register.
and get a license. About 25 acres, 500 Ghana cedis. I don't think that is very, very expensive. Even the EPA license is about $2,500. Anybody who wants to do small-scale mining should be able to pay that. Some were of the opinion that even the 500 Ghana cedis for 25 acres is too small. But we don't want a situation where when you lift the ban, you use financial to discourage a lot of people. That is why we're being flexible. So I don't want to give you the precise, I know the specific date, but I don't want to take the wind out of it. I want the president or Dr. Boateng to come out and tell Ghanaians about this galamsey. Okay. To be frank with you, the ban on galamsey, I still maintain it if and only if those who were supposed to monitor the activities of this galamsey, they would have been sincere and or honest to government or Ghana. But I will not mince words. The soldiers who went the Operation Vanguard, they were so corrupt. So corrupt. So I don't know whom to trust again.
So are you confident that we have put the right structures in place not to see the problems for which we put the ban in the first place?
You know, to be honest with you, I don't trust any Ghanaian. Not
even the president?
I don't trust anybody because the president will come out with all this. The people that are going to monitor, they will abuse their powers. They will connive with the galamsey people and still do the wrong things.
And if you're watching, I don't know how comments, how views, opinions like this make you feel, whether it's a helpless situation. He says he's lost hope in everybody else because, in fact, people he claims are on the Operation Vanguard team has come to him asking that they be, asking that he does something that makes them benefit monetarily. And that's one of the points that Mr. Prepra made about how people are making money. People are cashing in on the back of this fight against galamsey. I'm going to take your comments on what Mr. Kennedy Japan has said, gentlemen, and then from that we'll talk again about Aisha Wang, which I'm sure you're very familiar with. Mr. Prepra, let me start with you. You had Member of Parliament for Asin Central speak about the galamsey, the fight against galamsey, and the fact that Operation Vanguard soldiers, some soldiers on the Operation Vanguard team are corrupt. He says they are corrupt, they connive with illegal miners, and so it looks like the problem is really going to be a vicious cycle.
Gifty, I think now we are only waiting for the ban to be lifted. But if we should bring some of the evidence that we have, it's pathetic. But it's not only the Operation Vanguard. There are DCs who are also cashing in on the ban on small-scale mining. You know what they do? Some of the machines that the Operation Vanguard seized and then at least parked those machines at their compound have all been given out to the small-scale miners or the galamseyers. Somebody is engaging in illegality. You've gone to arrest the person, seize the machine, taking that machine to the various districts on that the illegal activity is going on. After a while, the DCs connived with those galamseyers, took money from them, and they released those machines back to them.
Do you have evidence of all of these?
We
and have you reported?
Evidence to this effect. We can give you clear, examples. But we just want the government to lift the ban. But after the ban is lifted, we will come out with all those names and all those people involved.
Why won't you report to a higher authority if you already have your evidence?
We've done it. We've written petitions upon petitions. Whatever we could do, we've done it.
Okay, let me bring you in, Ms. Addo. What are your thoughts about what Mr. Kennedy Japan has just said?
Some time ago, we went to arrest some illegal miners from a forest at Apamprama, in the Galamasey Central. I think 11 of them or so. We brought them to the police station. That is where my work ends. when we brought them, I was expecting that they'll be taken to courts. Those illegal miners were not taken to courts.
Why? Did you follow up to find out why?
I called Kenashigbi to actually ensure that the media make noise about it. But nothing happened to it.
So you agree with him when he says that some of the members were corrupt
somehow, but
and were conniving with the small-scale miners?
On a cautious way, because I haven't seen anybody paying money to the military men.
And you haven't heard anything at all
I've been hearing it all the time. I've been hearing it.
You hear it all the time.
Based on what happened at Jacobu the other day, I was so sad that how come that we go to arrest such persons and then bring them to the police command and nothing happened to them.
Okay.
And that is not the only case. We have a series of illegal miners we have arrested.
Okay.
And sometimes the police don't take them to courts.
Okay.
And so we don't know where to lay the blame. However, I will admit that there is so much corruption in the system.
There's so much corruption. And so it begs, it leaves the question hanging whether or not we can really deal with this. But whilst we're talking about all of this, and I'll have the gentleman hang on for us, because whilst we're talking about all of this, and despite ongoing persecution of this Chinese woman who came up in the news some time ago, Aisha Wang, for being involved in illegal mining on an extremely large scale, she appears to be far from giving up the trade, we're told. A special operation by an inter-ministerial task force on Monday at a mining site said to belong to her in the Ashanti region led to the arrest of 2 persons and seizure of 6 excavators. Erastus Asari Donko joined the task force on the latest operation and has filed this report.
On the road to Bepotenting, the visitor comes across rivers Oda and Ofin, which look milky and dirty. A casual look at the water gives little or no hope of survival for marine life. Tubes lead in and out of the water, pumping mud and chemical residue from illegal mining sites. Deep in the forest of Amansia Central, the devastation is huge, despite government's ban on small-scale and illegal mining still in force.
It's been 3 weeks since the Inter-Ministerial Task Force on Illegal Mining visited this site at Bepotenting. They seized 3 excavators from this site. That's 3 weeks ago. Now, we came here as a news team 2 weeks ago. Mining was active. We notified the committee again. Today, they are here to check whether indeed workers have come back to the site to work. And as we came in, we saw about 4 excavators actively mining in the same site they destroyed 3 weeks ago.
An Accra High Court earlier this year ordered the arrest of Miss Aisha Huang for engaging in illegal mining. She and 3 others are currently standing trial. The Inter-Ministerial Task Force, however, says she's back into mining with impunity, hiding behind her Ghanaian collaborators. Upon seeing the team, the Chinese miners fled the scene and left behind their Ghanaian workers, one of whom, a Chinese, was picked up. A Ghanaian accomplice who was later arrested confirmed working for Miss Aisha Huang, but will not disclose her whereabouts.
Small scale mining, illegal mining. Mr. Busune, Brakobi. No, Asha. Asha Ben. Chinese woman.
The team also destroyed water pumping machines and other equipment at the site. 2 leaders of the Inter-Ministerial Task Force, Muniru Ahmed and W. Isaac Nyako, expressed shock at the impunity with which the Chinese national defies a mining ban by the Ghana government.
And we are still looking for that Aisha. And if you know how to hide, you also know how to search. One day you get him. If we get him, you make sure the law will deal with her. And we are still looking for her. Bambis will get her too.
Have you picked any clues that tell you that indeed this site belongs to her?
Yeah, you will find somebody calling her. that the guys are here again, so she should come. So we are waiting for her to come. If only she will come, we are waiting for her to come.
In fact, I was shocked to see the grounds like this. A ground that they've operated just quite 2 weeks ago, and then the woman will just organize again, come back and continue on the same job. And look at the mess she's causing for the whole nation. Look at the mess. And I believe it's not only this place.
Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Kumasi.
Erastus filed that report, but it's quite curious that a woman has been arrested, standing trial, and she cannot be found. I mean, we'll deal with that question a bit later. But let me wrap up this conversation by again taking your thoughts on this. Let me start with you, Mr. Addo, about what's happening there. This is an area that you're quite familiar with, you say?
Yeah, we arrested. That is where I was talking about. 11 of them, I think 6 of them, 7 of them were Chinese, and then 6 were Ghanaians. The moment we brought them to the police station, the commander, I think they didn't even take them to court.
They allow them to go.
To go. That is what I'm. No, you will not understand what is going on in the system. How come that you go there? You see, before you move a single excavator from a site, the low bed would charge not less than 4,000 Ghana cedis, and that goes against the states.
Okay. Let me take your thoughts on this, Mr. Prepara, as we wrap up this conversation. Mr. Prepara, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I believe you listened to the story that we just played.
Yeah, I listened to the story, but we don't have to jump the gun.
Okay.
Let's not put all the blame on Aisha. We have to really think about the issue. We have to delve deep in what is happening. Who are the big hands behind
big
Aisha?
men behind.
These are the things you should be asking.
Who do you think are the big men behind this, Aisha?
Oh, my sister, it's a question that I'm asking. If she's doing this thing in Ashanti region, you know, she was part of those people who were working in Apapama Forest Reserve. And when it came out that people were in those forests mining under the supervision of the state security or the military, and he shifted and went to a company or a land that is owned by Volta Resource, a large-scale mining company. And she started his galamsey operation. We reported this issue to the police, to all the authorities in the region, and she wasn't arrested. When you see her, she will have the guts to tell you that nobody in this country can touch her. Somebody who is facing a trial of illegal mining and other issues as well have the guts to mine with impunity, while small-scale miners will be in their house.
Okay.
With nothing to do.
Okay.
And you know, these are the issues.
These are the issues that you are referring to. Certainly. Certainly. In the meantime, I need to check this with you quickly, because we understand that there's a concerned small-scale miners are saying that I mean, what's the difference between the Small-Scale Miners Association and the Concerned Small-Scale Miners Association? Because we need to check with that. We understand that a group of them have said that you don't speak for them.
Any group that would say I don't speak for small-scale miners cannot come out and then order my arrest, because anybody anywhere can just issue anything and say whatever he wants. Since the onset of this fight, who has been talking or who has been spearheading the fight against the illegal mining?
No, we just need you to clear that up for us. What is the difference between the association, the Small-Scale Miners Association, and the Concerned Small-Scale Miners Association? Is there a difference?
The Concerned Small-Scale Miners Association is an association that was part of the national.
Okay.
But when the issue came and they became compromised, and when they went to take 100,000 from the government,
okay, that's again.
We said that no, we don't believe in corruption.
Okay.
We would form another association.
That's again. Hold on, Ms. Addo. Hold on, Ms. Addo. I'll let you come in. That's again an allegation that we cannot independently verify. You are saying that we don't know that for sure.
I know of that.
So, if the truth, maybe Addo is aware of the money.
No, I wanted to make a clarification.
Make it quick for me, please.
That 100,000 that was given to them.
100,000 was given to who?
To the small scale. No, wait. The task force. You see, they were fighting on the river bodies. So that money was given to them to buy jackets and then lifeboats and all those things. It wasn't a bribe.
So this went to Small Scale Miners Association.
I'm surprised, Pepper, why are you talking like this?
So did this 100,000?
Everything wrong with this campaign. Why?
Mr. Pepper, the 100,000 cities went to some of the small scale miners.
No, we have Ghana National Association for Small Scale Miners.
Okay.
They took that money that they were going to help government to fight the illegal mining. And when they took the money, they couldn't make any accounts of the money. And we realized that anytime we want to voice out and let the country understand our plight, they would tell us to shut up.
Okay.
So we realized that they were compromised. And for that matter, there was another association that was concerned. And this is how come the concern came into existence.
Okay.
And the association has been duly registered. And we have over 5,000 members with the concern.
Very well. We just needed to make that clarification because we got the feedback, I think, perhaps from the concerned small scale miners saying that
it's not
from the national.
Somebody might say that he is with the national.
Right.
Okay.
Concern. Right. Okay. Okay. So we needed to make that clarification. But gentlemen, I've taken so much of your time. Thank you so much for your time this evening here on the post. Mr. Kojo Prepara there, he is speaking for the Concerned Small Scale Miners Association, and also here with me was Richard Addo, who is the head of the Volunteers Against Environmental Degradation. They're all on the ground. Now we don't know whether or not the ban will be lifted. We're hearing it will be lifted somewhere next week. It's going to be lifted. And it's going to be lifted, you say. I'm sure you have friends in high places who are giving you that information. Yes. We look forward to that. But thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
But it's interesting. This fight, some way, somehow, must be won, whether or not we like it. You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty and Addo here. A quick break. I'll be right back.